we have Omar Khasawneh, who's the head of the Entrepreneurship Center at KAUST, who will really dive into how you can bring your ideas from research to a startup, to life, to go to market. So if you have ideas in mind, I'm very happy to welcome Omar on the stage.
Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. I wish, let me see if this works. Does this work? Yep, that's much better. How's everyone? I know it's been a long day, probably the last session, so I'm not very fortunate here. So I'll make this quick, simple, sweet. If you have any questions at the end, I'll be happy to answer. My name is Omar Khasawneh. I am the head of KAUST Entrepreneurship. What we do here in KAUST Entrepreneurship is we run a range of programs to support entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs who want to build startups. Being part of a university means a good chunk of those entrepreneurs come from science and engineering background. They stumbled upon an idea related to their research or their work, and they want to make a startup out of it. And most of the time, they want to become millionaires. That's great. We run programs to support them and help them. I prepared a very, very simple presentation to encourage or explain some of the steps you should take if you have such epiphanies, ideas based on your research and would like to commercialize it. Where do you start? And at the end, I will tell you about our flagship program that supports such efforts. So without further ado, from research ideas to real products. So the first thing is the mindset shift. When you work on academia, you are rewarded for novelty. You are always looking for the next idea that nobody has beaten you to it, sometimes looking to publish, of course, and novelty is the currency. The minute you want to commercialize, there is a switch. In startup world, in real life, you are rewarded for value. So what does that mean? You are rewarded if you can prove that people are willing to pay for your product, your idea, or your service. And this is a major shift in thinking, although it looks simple. Because if I count the number of times I've talked to a PhD graduate or even a faculty or a smart engineer who keeps telling me about how amazing this feature is, how smart this thing is, but nobody wants it. Does anybody want to pay for it? So that shift is just stop thinking about how amazing the technology is and start thinking about, will anybody pay for it? Will I pay for it? Will the person next to me pay for it? So, and that's the trap. That's the trap. If you spend your life training on one single skill, you turn into a hammer that's looking for a nail all the time. If you are a scientist or an engineer, you want to solve that problem in the most elegant, practical, efficient way. So usually you don't think about the market, will somebody buy it, how much will people pay for it, is it all needed, or do I just need to develop something that works? So the shift happens when you start thinking, where is the pain point? What is something that people are trying to do today, but they can't? Or they are doing today, but it's very slow, very annoying, very painful. That should be the starting point, rather than having a technology that looks for an application. Starting from the problem. So in the research world, you ask, is this scientifically possible? And you carry on an experiment to prove it. The question now becomes, does anyone actually care? Which translates into, will anyone pay money for it? So, you've got the idea, you asked these questions, you are convinced that yes, there is potential, and let me tell you, this is a business of uncertainty. You are dealing with ambiguity, which can be unsettling for scientists. You look for things, you solve problems to the second decimal place, while here, you're trying to predict human behavior. Will people need it? Will people buy it? How much will people pay for it? So there is so much uncertainty, and that's the first thing you should get used to and get comfortable actually with. So when you are convinced that there is a possibility, there is a chance that somebody will pay for this idea, and now I want to validate whether this is true or not. The first concept we ask people to do is leave the lab, get out of your own brain, and go talk to people. Because those are your future customers. So talk to people. Say, I have this idea. I want to do this. Will you use it? Will you pay money for it? What is the problem you are trying to solve? You could ask, what do you do today to solve it? Right? If you know the famous example about Henry Ford, people used horses for transportation, but he was a visionary. So he was thinking, if I keep developing the existing system, people wanted just faster horses. And what he thought of, I just need to provide an alternative way that takes people from A to B. It doesn't have to be a horse. So that abstract thinking about the problem you are trying to solve. Don't tie it to a technology yet. Think about the problem. Ask your question and phrase them in terms of the problem. And talk to as many people as you want, as much as you can, actually. Sorry, I should rephrase that. In order to build your very early on validation. The second advice is quite counterintuitive. Although for scientific people, we always talk about a hypothesis and then how you falsify it. It's the same thing. Try to invalidate. Try to break the idea. Try to fail early on, because you are saving yourself time. There is no point of looking for a confirmation bias, which I have a slide for, so I run ahead of myself. But try to actually invalidate yourself. Ask, why wouldn't people use it? And as I said, this sounds counterintuitive. Why would you prove yourself wrong? Because you're not publishing out of this. You are trying to make money. You are trying, and your opinion doesn't matter here. The market is the determinant of whether this thing has value or not, which is a weird situation to be in when you become into the sales business. It's not your choice. It's people's choice. Will people pay for it? So if you go and ask and people say no, move on to the next page. You don't have to stop. You might uncover a need, or you might deviate from the original idea, but do try to invalidate. Do try to break the idea. If it proves to be unbreakable, keep going. A real-world example. People use this a lot. You work on a sensor, state of the art. You want to make it as small as possible. You spend 3 years perfecting it. Probably the cost now is prohibitive, only to find out that people are looking for a simple temperature sensor or heart rate sensor, and they don't care about it being accurate to the 6 sigma. And that's a very common trap for scientists. The next phase. Let's say you have an idea, maybe based on your work or on your research. You talked to a number of people, and now you believe it's worth pursuing, and you want to build it. I can't emphasize enough how this is the best time to be an entrepreneur, because you need to build your MVP, minimum viable product, your prototype, your mock-up, multiple names. A minimum viable product is actually a product, but with a very limited set of functionality, basic functionality, just to test it. Why is this the best time to do it? Well, I think most of the day was talking about AI, vibe coding. Even if you are not a programmer, you can develop a program or a mock-up in few hours or few days if it's so complicated. If it's hardware, there is 3D printing. There is chipsets shipping easily across the world. So truly, to build a small functioning product based on your idea is now easier than ever. YouTube is full of videos of people who built insane things. Previously, they would take 6 months to a year. They would take shipping. That can be done now in weeks. If you can't, the second best thing is to try to design a mock-up experiment that emulates your idea. So there is this real-time story, famous story from the Silicon Valley, of a bunch of people who wanted to see if they develop an AI agent, call it chatbot agent, for new parents to provide 24/7 help with their questions about the newborn baby. So what did they do? To save money, rather than building the whole thing, and you need the AI model, and you need to fine-tune it, and you need to know what safety rails to add there. They actually built just the facade of the program, the interface, and they hired 6 or 7 professional people to respond to the chats. So they are emulating a chatbot, and they published. They started on an Instagram page. They started recruiting people, new parents, and see whether they will use it, whether they will engage with it, whether they will like the answers, and whether after a month they are willing to pay or not. Okay, granted, that experiment cost money, but way less than building the actual system. And by the end of the month, you have a very clear idea whether people are willing to pay, whether people are using it or not, what type of questions are you getting. So this is one example about things you could do to, as I said, build your minimum functioning product or a work around it before you commit money and commit time and go to the market. So this is the step that we encourage entrepreneurs to do. If you reach to a conviction that your idea has value, go and develop your first prototype functioning. That's all what you need. It should look ugly, it should be fast, and try to sell it or offer it as a pilot for people, and that's your first step to sales. Okay, so this picture is just a reminder for my memory. Related to what we were talking about, don't try to perfect your product. Don't spend so much time trying to perfect it. What you want is to be fast to market, test and reiterate. And this picture is a reminder of an experiment. There is I don't know what they call it, clay pottery class that teaches people to develop these beautiful shapes. And one teacher split the class into 2 groups. 3 months. The first group were asked to develop the perfect product by the end of the semester. Keep working, keep designing, just give me the perfect product. The second group were asked to develop as many products, same product, keep repeating it as they can. So one group rewarded for the number, the volume, and one group asked to develop the perfect outcome. And guess what? By the end of the semester, the perfect product came from the group that developed the numbers. Because you develop once, you learn something. And you develop again, you counter your mistakes. And you develop for the 3rd time. The fancy name is the learning curve. And it easily beat the group who kept just thinking and conceptualizing what would the perfect product be. So the fact that we encourage entrepreneurs to go build something, and start using it. It doesn't come from void. It's real life. It's quick. And it is the path to improve and to find feedback and build the next version or iteration of your product. Surviving the valley of death. This is a very famous curve. If you are an entrepreneur, you have an idea, you have a technology, you are so excited about it first, and they call it uninformed optimism. You're just optimist, you think you're going to conquer the world. And then you build it, you ask few people, and your optimism goes down. But if there is moat in the idea, and many ideas are actually not commercial, you just have to accept that fact. But don't quit too early. If there is moat in the idea, you have to go through this valley of death, and then gradually you keep improving your idea or finding the right people who need your idea, because these are two different things. You might have a great idea, but trying to sell it for the wrong people. If you survive the valley of death, and then you will go to the exponential growth of achieving the market fit, and your idea will start to sell, assuming it is a commercial idea and it has value. The question that nobody has an answer to is, how do I know whether my idea is not commercial or whether I am quitting too early? There is no answer to that, but you need to try enough before giving up. So this slide is just to warn you about giving up early, but there is no real answer for that question. So we talked about confirmation bias. If you go out and talk to people, we humans, we do this. There's so much evidence, and there is our beliefs, and we conveniently decide to omit all the evidence and focus on the ones that are overlapping with our beliefs. Same thing with a product. Don't know why you think this product is the best thing since sliced bread, and everybody's telling you, or 80 of 100 people are telling you, I will never touch it, but you stick to the 20 people who say, yes, it is great. Again, there is a dilemma here. You might be selling only to those 20 people, or you might be listening to your own voice. So avoid confirmation bias. It's one of the main problems that we see with scientific founders who want to become entrepreneurs. Quick summary, because I need to leave time to tell you about our program TAQADAM and to leave time for questions. So the key mindset shift from my technology to people's pain. People's pain is what people pay for. From grants, which is something that people in academia are addicted to, finding grants for the next idea, to revenue, having people pay for my product or service because they believe in it, because it solves their problem. From solo genius to team sport, definitely entrepreneurship is a team sport. You think you can start by yourself, but eventually to go farther, you need a team. And from perfection to action, keep iterating, don't wait for the perfect product, and just ship to the market if there is a customer. What we do, you are not by yourself. I think I'm done. So you're not alone. There are multiple organizations that will help entrepreneurs, aspiring founders, to find their way. We are one of them. In KAUST Entrepreneurship, we run multiple programs. The program that targets entrepreneurs at early stage is called TAQADAM. TAQADAM is an accelerator, and that's the name, Business Accelerator, where we receive ideas, founders who are aspiring to ship a product. We put them through a program of 6 months that has financial support needed, mentorship, guidance, because you are a scientist, you don't know about the business, you need some guidance on customer discovery, who's your ideal customer profile, what's your business model, how much is your profit, what's your profit margin, where should you sell, how should you distribute. So that's 6 months, plus the value of being with a cohort of people trying to do the same thing. It's hard. It's like people trying to do PhD. They support each other. There is a camaraderie there. Same thing. And after 6 months, when you have something to show, we invite most of the investors in the kingdom, which are VCs, venture capitalists, and we ask the founders to present to them. If they like what they see, they will offer you money in return for a chunk, a share of your startup, and the journey continues. So that's what we do to support early stage entrepreneurs. It's our flagship program. We have other programs, but maybe this is not the right stage to talk about them. If you have any questions or you have ideas that you want to commercialize, would like to ask about them, please, I'm here for the next 10 minutes. Thank you.
So we can take questions from the sides. Oh, we have one already.
Please.
Hi, thank you for the talk. Just for the venture capital thing, you said there's a program of 6 months. Can I just come with a product, with an idea, with a proof of concept ready, and pitch it? And should it be in Saudi Arabia to get funding and investors or no?
For our program, yes. We need the ideas to come from Saudi Arabia, although we accept regionally sometimes, so neighboring countries. And that's because it's a Saudi program. There is an equivalent program like this in most countries, so wherever you are, you will find an equivalent. Just Google Business Accelerators and you will find the one next to you. If you want to bypass that step and you think you have something that already has value, you can contact VCs directly. Again, a quick search will reveal the VCs in your area. It's a bit maybe more difficult than this because VCs are sometimes specialized. Some of them invest in ag tech, some of them invest only in fintech, some of them invest in very early stage, some of them invest in later stage. But a quick search, you can land those VCs. And anyway, you're going to send cold email to 100 of them to get 3 or 4 responses. So yes, you can do that if you believe that you have something investable. Usually, the accelerator is the first stage, usually, because it helps you figure out that you are missing many things along the way. And VCs realize this value. They come to accelerator graduation days, demo days, to hunt for the startups because they know they've been filtered. It's like recruiters going to recruit from top schools because they know those people have been through a rigorous program. Does that answer the question?
Pretty much, yes. But for the part of there is investors, but for the program you mentioned, it should be based on Saudi Arabia. There's nothing for outside. Like I'm from Canada.
The program can accept ideas if you are willing to relocate to Saudi Arabia within 6 months.
Relocate myself or register the business here?
The company.
No, only the company.
The company and some of the operation, because if you register the company only, there is no real economic activity happening on the ground.
It's fully online.
And the point of this is to generate jobs and generate revenue and grow the local economy.
It's an AI tool, so it doesn't need to...
Yeah, but it needs engineers, it needs people, so we need those people to be here to transfer some knowledge.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
We'll take questions, yeah?
Hello. Thank you so much for your presentation.
You're welcome.
I just want to ask you, you mentioned about value of the death.
Yes.
Like at the top bottom, which are the clear signs that we should receive that so that we continue or we give up at that point?
Okay, that is a difficult question. And that's why we encourage people to develop something, minimum viable product, and give it to others to try it or to pay for it. The signs are, in my opinion, whatever product you develop, unless it's super, super unneeded, you will find somebody to pay for it. I'll tell you, we have some time. So this is an experience that I had. My son was 10 years old when he did this, here in KAUST. He printed some cards saying that, come train with Coach Hashim, a professional soccer coach, blah, 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 blah. And he spread it. And I was laughing. He put a price there, I think 100 SARS or 70 SARS for the lesson. And he put my phone number. And in a week, I received 4 or 5 phone calls. What's the point of this? you will find a few people who want to buy your product, even if it's as good as my son's product. But growth stagnates. First 10 people who happen to have the same problem that you have will buy it, will pay you. But then it stops. You get those first 10 customers in 2 months, and then you spend the rest of the year without any. This is a sign that this thing is not scalable, because you don't want just a few sales. You want something scalable. You want thousands, if not millions of users. So if things stagnate, no more sales, no more new customers, or current people using it and dropping, that's a sign that it's not going anywhere. For me, that's the strongest sign. You could either quit or go talk to them and see what's the problem and how can you change. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
How many? 1, 2 more questions?
We have 2-3 minutes, right?
Okay, 2 minutes. Yalla. Next
2 minutes.
question, please.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
I'm Karamuddin Omar. My question probably is spring in many of MENA region students. As you know, most of us study abroad, and during your study, it come up to you brilliant idea. And immediately you start to, for example, during my PhD, I'm co-founder of 2 startups in Italy, most of them in robotics. So this is almost the case for some of them. And it is very difficult to allocate immediately. So how you can make a balance of formula that, for example, to initiate the process and then to agree about allocation.
Allocation of what, sorry?
To start the startup or the business, for example, here, from another country.
Oh, from another country. Okay. So, to be honest, I don't know if there is a very satisfying answer for this. Usually, if you start in a place, you should succeed locally a bit before you want to go to another place. And for us, that's also a sign. Like I received a pitch deck from Poland for a product that did 0 sales in Poland but wants to come to Saudi Arabia. So I asked why. There is a reason. But if there is a strong reason why you developed something in a place but want to come to Saudi Arabia, at early stage, it's difficult. We are one of the few programs that does that, gives you a 6-month of time period. But you also need to think from the other party perspective. People are doing this because they want to make money, they want to generate local economic activity, they want to create jobs. So you can't expect people to be shipping money to another country. It's just difficult for both sides. So my advice is always look locally, develop, and then when things start to move and there are sales, then you can branch out. And you don't necessarily need to be there yourself. Maybe at that point you have a partner or an employee. That helps. But in the beginning, it's very difficult. It's 2 people, heroic activities. You have to decide whether you are here or there.
Okay. So I recall that you mentioned the valley of death. You mentioned a couple of things or pitfalls for things that startup people face or entrepreneurs, including confirmation bias. What I wanted to ask is, particularly given that you've seen quite a lot of these, what is the more major pitfalls that startups or break startups actually? And what is the most important inflection point that actually either makes or breaks a startup?
Thank you. I think we could spend a lot of time to answer this because that's the whole point of mentoring a startup, correct? What really breaks the startup, and I hate to give you a very simple answer, 90% of startups ignore competition, simply. And you hear people talk about their product as if there is no alternative. My first question to them is, how are people living today without you? Can you explain? And that starts the discussion. There is always competition. There is always an alternative. There is always something that you are trying to replace. And if you don't do it better, people are not going to switch to your service. And that's very simple, is one of the biggest problems. The inflection point is that point when the startups or founder become so tuned to the market need. It requires maybe market research, but some founders have that empathy where they could really imagine what the market needs, what the customer needs, and they start developing for that, even if they don't need that product or feel it. They just listen to the customer need. When that happens, that's the inflection point.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we're out of time.
I think we're out of time. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.